Hi, 5th and 6th graders. I know not all of you are watching this, but I appreciate the ones who are. Something I wanted you guys to think about today was we kind of feel a little bit like we're not in control right now, right? We are used to our schedules and how things are going to go. And right now, because we're not sure how long things are going to be closed and how long we're going to have to stay mostly at home, it makes us feel a little bit out of control. And my husband was encouraging me first that even though we're not in control, God is in control. So you can kind of rest in that. The other thing is, sometimes it really upsets me not to be in control. So he said, you need to find one or two things that you can control and then worry about those. So I thought, well, what can I control? I can control, I can't control my dogs. They're behind me there. I can control making sure all my videos are done. I can control staying up on my grading. I can control whether I decide to eat healthy or eat a bunch of junk food. And I was thinking about you guys, and you probably feel even less control than me because you're just kids. So, but one thing you are in control of making sure you get your stuff done, making sure it gets turned in. So that's the one thing you can do right now. The one thing you can, you can't worry about when things are going to change in the state of Michigan, but you can take care of your own stuff that you were given to do. So take responsibility for the little bit that you can, and we'll all do our part, and we'll get through this school year, okay? So we're going to read the next chapter of Treasure in the Yukon. It's called Message in Code. Like I said at the beginning, it had been a bad day. I didn't feel so brainy as I trudged home from Scruggs' house. I guess he gave it to me straight all right, while we had our catch outside. I always figured I knew Scruggs well enough. Once he got into the youth group at church back in the spring. I mean, he kept to himself pretty much, but we always said hi to each other. Also, since he'd come back from California, I thought he had been friendlier, and we were both on the church softball team. But while we had our catch, he told me he felt awkward with me. Felt like people laughed at him all the time. And it was worse when he was with me. He said he didn't want to go to Canada with me and my family for those reasons. That he might not fit in. Really, it was just a nice way of saying he didn't like me. You guys think that's what it meant? Then, when I got home, the place was in an uproar. Seems that a colony of ants had invaded the clothes hamper during the day. Wonder why that was. I would have made a strategic retreat until things cooled off, but my mother saw me and gave me a scolding for being so careless. I shook the clothes outside, put them to rinse in a big tub, and vacuumed the carpet out upstairs to get rid of all the ants. Then I sat in my room and planned how everybody was going to be sorry as soon as I got to be rich and famous as a detective or something better. My older sister Penny came in. Penny's okay for her sister. She'd even be okay for a brother. She's not afraid of most things that scare girls, and she makes a really good pitcher until she gets tired. Uncle Justin called a few minutes ago, she said. The equipment's okay, and he's bringing it back with him tonight. Great, I said. Scruggs won't go, and I know Mom and Dad won't let me go alone. They think I'll get in the way by myself. Why won't he go? That's the killer, Penny. He won't go because he doesn't like me. Did he say that? Not in those words, but he says he's uncomfortable with me. It's like he thinks that I think he's not good enough. Okay, time for our code word. Code word for today is barbecue. Barbecue. She sat down on the edge of my bed next to me and leaned her head against her hands. He used to bully us to pieces. Sure, I know that, but I can forget it. Why can't he? You can forget it, but maybe other people can't. And if they can't, Scruggs can't. Come on, it's dinner time. I knew what she meant by that. Some of the kids at church were supposed to hang around with Scruggs. And it wasn't because weren't supposed to hang around with Scruggs. And it wasn't because he was such a bad kid, because Scruggs wasn't bad anymore. I had never seen anybody change like Scruggs had changed. He quit using bad language. He quit trying to convince Al at the Quick Mart to sell him cigarettes. And he quit picking on people. He really was trying to be good. The only thing that had happened since he got back from San Francisco was that he had used saltpeter in an experiment and blew the drywall out of Mrs. Bennett's basement. But that was an accident. Anyway, some of the kids weren't supposed to go near him. And Scruggs knew it perfectly well, and I guess it hurt his feelings. I guess it would hurt anybody's feelings. At dinner, I decided to ask my dad about it and see if I could convince him to let me go anyway. But then somebody knocked at the back door. "I'll get it," Dad said, as Mom started to stand. "Relax and eat, honey. I wonder who could be knocking at 5 o'clock. In a minute, he came back, and he looked kind of puzzled. "It's a telegram," he said, sitting back down. He looked thoughtful. "I didn't even know people sent telegrams anymore," Penny said. "Isn't it cheaper to call?" "Yes, if you have access to a phone. Apparently somebody didn't. It's for your brother Justin," Dad added to Mom. "But it's addressed to me. I wonder why." "Well, what does it say?" I asked. "Well, I guess I might as well read it to you for all the sense that it made," he replied. Then he read, "Justin, Pat no Nile enemy, period. See King Scion, period. We bear thong tool." He glanced up. It's signed Jimmy and Nelson. "That's the last name of Justin's partner, Dr. Nelson," Mom said. "He's been trying to get more research in before the expedition. I think that he's flying in from Yukon to meet Justin here tomorrow. Jimmy's their assistant, Jimmy Graybeaver." "Maybe all of it's some kind of technical jargon," Penny offered. "Isn't a scion a kind of ruler?" I asked. "He mentioned kings and scions. It sounds more like a trip to Egypt than the Yukon." "Especially with the Nile thrown in there," Penny added. "I think it's a code. Maybe the Nile stands for the Yukon River." "Uh-oh. If you two are hunting up more trouble, I think it's time to batten down the hatches," Dad said. "Peabody, Wisconsin has barely recovered from your last adventure." Just then the telephone rang, and Penny and I raced to get it before Dad could say anything. She beat me because she sat closest to the kitchen door. "Hello, hello," she exclaimed to the receiver. "This is Penny Durwood." Like she thought somebody was going to read a clue right to her right over the phone. Disappointment flickered across her face. "Yeah, he's right here, Scruggs." She sighed in a defeated manner and handed me the phone. "Scruggs?" "Jack, why don't you come over after dinner?" Scruggs said. "I've been talking to Mother, and she wants me to reconsider." "Sure, and I've got more to tell you. I'll see you in half an hour. Now don't forget to text me. Code word barbecue."